Item number 13 is department and committee reports, non-action items. 13A, 2025 budget hearing number 3, budget reports and critical needs and citizen outreach group presentations. Nikki Simmons, Chief Financial Officer.
I just have to say, this is a fine looking bunch of officers
It is.
coming in, isn't it not?
And we did catch him slightly. We were in between that 9:30 and 9:40 time here, so thanks for flexing with us on that. Ms.
No
Simmons.
problem. I'm glad the Sheriff's Office is just now walking in. Good morning, Commissioners. Nikki Simmons, Chief Financial Officer. We're here today to kick off budget hearing number 3, which is the final day that we're doing critical need presentations. Today, you'll hear from several departments and offices regarding their needs that were placed in the preliminary balanced budget. This is the board's chance to hear that, as well as ask any questions of your elected officials and/or department directors. We encourage that open dialogue. Wanted to also point out that we do allow for citizen comment after each presentation so that we can have those comments directly with the presentation that's being given. So if the chair would not mind to see if there's citizen comment after each presentation. And at this point, we don't have any further budget updates, and so feel comfortable moving forward with the critical need presentation. So up first today, we have our Sheriff, Joe Roybal, who will present on behalf of the Sheriff's Office requests.
Yes, thank you. As the sheriff is making his way up, I just have one quick clarification. We have a schedule in front of us today with critical needs presentations, and I already did get a question why certain departments were not included in this schedule, and that is because, can you explain the critical needs request process and the regular budgeting for everyone else who doesn't have one of those?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, so absolutely, Commissioner. Certain departments, so we ask for critical needs from every department and office, and certain departments didn't submit ones, or through the preliminary balanced budget process, we were able to fund things a different way and or withdraw the request. So you're hearing from the departments that are requesting funds within the preliminary balanced budget today. So you are hearing from everybody who has a need requested. That was, if you remember back to the presentation I gave on October 8th, it was about the preliminary balanced budget, and there was a slide where there were needs that were, they were either statutory and or 100% necessary to run the county. Those you won't hear from today, with 2 exceptions, because those departments were presenting anyway, so they are included in those departments' presentations. And then you are hearing of the ones where we worked on through the budget hearing process with the strategy sessions in order to fund their critical need requests. Does that help answer your question? Thank you. So without any other questions, I will pass it over to our sheriff.
Good morning, Sheriff. You just missed my thanks for your help at the pumpkin carving contest. So sorry you missed that, but welcome this morning. And we're glad to see so many feel very safe this morning.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable Commission. Behind me, you will see some of my staff here. I invited them because this presentation, this ask, is for the men and women behind me. Some of them feel it's very important. They are committed. And this presentation, honestly, is for them. They're my audience today. I'm asking you, but they're my audience because I want them to know that I'm fighting for them. Some of them are on vacation behind me. You see some of them have brought family members because they're off, but this is very important to them, as it is me. This month in October, I celebrated my 29th year here at the Sheriff's Office. I am the most senior badge in the office. I am one of them. And that's the message I have conveyed since day one when I was sworn in as sheriff. We have this slide here, and as you know me, I go off script. This time will be immediately. Here's our strategic plan. This is one of the requirements that the board asks. You see it's simple: community trust, reduce victims, quality service, and legislation. And what I did in developing these, and asked my staff to help develop these are nothing more than my promises to the community when I ran for office. So the staff you see behind me, they are helping me fulfill my promise to the community in public safety. We have this in front of you. I believe you have a printed copy. I won't take the time to read all of them, but community trust the first. Reduce victims. That's important to me. Quality service. That's every day. Every person who works for the office delivers quality service, whether it's a phone call at the front desk, a phone call in a dispatch, the jail, serving our community members, legislation. My office has been very proactive in legislation, as well as the commission, and we've partnered on several. We will continue to do that. To me, this is the foundation of how we keep our community safe. That's through legislation, that's the laws. Or in the case of Colorado recently, it ties our hands when we're trying to keep the community safe. And that's what we're combating. Last year, I have taken up many members of my office who go and testify. I'm not the expert of all things. I set the expectation. And my staff, they go up, and if I don't testify, they are testifying. Critical needs. Now here's where I'm going to go off script. Commissioners, I asked today for additional critical needs funding, not for myself. I will not seek a dollar personally. As you know, my salary is set by statute. So just to be clear, the media watching, community watching, this pay raise is not for me, but for the deputies who keep our community safe. As the duly elected sheriff in a fiscally responsible, Tabor-respecting county, I understand how important it is to taxpayers, and I use my budget responsibly. In less than 2 years, I have demonstrated responsible spending and squeezed the lemon, per se, when I became sheriff in January of 2023. I cut over $1 million in unnecessary high-level positions, and I reallocated those funding to increase essential services. That bought me 10 deputies. I reallocated 6 to patrol and 4 to jail without increasing the budget by a penny. My office has demonstrated to our community that we provide high-quality customer service every single day. I want to paint the picture of the state of the office when I began my administration, because that's important. The accomplishments that we've made are not because of me. All I've done is set expectations. Where we are today is because of these men and women behind me, and I'm proud of them. Let's talk about jail deaths, the elephant in the room. When I took office in January of 2023, we had just ended a year with the most jail deaths in El Paso County history. 2022 saw 11 jail deaths before I took office. The drastic improvement in reducing those deaths in our jail is because of our change in medical contractor, change in expectation, and the dedication of my staff to ensuring we're doing everything we can to serve the men and women who find themselves incarcerated in our jail, our fellow citizens. Talk about staffing. January 12th, the day before I took office, we had 541 authorized deputy sheriffs, and I was 40 deputy sheriffs down, 40 vacancies, which was not normal. It was normal for law enforcement, not only here locally, but across the nation, to be down that many, and we were no different. When I took office, I was committed. I allocated some resources to recruiting, to hiring, and now I'm asking for some help with retention. We now have 543 sworn deputy sheriffs. In September of 23, we reached fully staffed numbers. Less than 1 year, we overcome that deficit of 40. We've dipped below that because of attrition, but as I stand here today, we are overhired by 1 deputy. We have 543 deputy sheriffs. Nobody else in this region can be proud of that. They can't brag about that. Even our partners, which I won't mention. Why is that significant? That is delivery to the citizens. That provides the quality service that I demand and that our community expects. The last time we were fully staffed, this will paint the picture. The last time we were fully staffed was in January of 2015. 2015. the last time we were fully staffed for this administration. We operated within a deficit for 8 years, a dangerous deficit. That's unacceptable. I demanded that all the deputies become post-certified again, and I believe that's a contributing factor to why we're fully staffed here today. Class 1 peace officers, whether in the jail, at the courthouse, on patrol, in our schools, serving warrants, they're Class 1 peace officers. I believe I'm fully staffed today despite my deputies being grossly underpaid because they feel heard, appreciated, and they have a new sense of pride. We are a sheriff's office in a western state, one of the first 3 chartered back when Colorado was only a territory. That's how far back this office goes. I brought back a sense of culture and heritage to this office. Hiring is very expensive. One recruit costs nearly $8,400 just to put through the academy, give them a uniform, and equip them. Let's retain them. Now let's get to the important part, the salary disparity of our deputies. Undeniably, there is a pay disparity between agencies on the Front Range of Colorado. And my agency comes last. Cassandra, can we put that up, please? I reached out to the FOP and asked for help. Do a staff study on where we fall across the region. And I was surprised to learn we are dead last in comparable agencies. There it is. You see my deputies max out at $92,664. Pueblo County, the next closest, makes more than us. Our partners here locally, Colorado Springs Police Department, just over $100,000. I started off by saying I've been here 29 years. I just celebrated my anniversary this month. I am one of them. My entire career, we have never made what CSPD makes, but yet my deputies are required to patrol areas much larger. They're back up further away than our partners. We operate a jail, which is a tremendous responsibility to serve those community members and ensure their constitutional rights, health, and welfare are protected. They do a phenomenal job. So I'm committed, as I am to the community. I'm committed to my men and women behind me who do this work day in and day out to reduce that gap. Commissioners, I ask you to look behind me at the deputy's uniform here today. After sharing with you the massive, unacceptable pay disparity our agency faces, these men and women do not wake up, don the uniform, and risk their lives because we pay them what they deserve. The men and women you see here today do so because they are proud, they are committed to our culture and our mission, and committed to protecting our community. They miss holidays with their families and work long, exhausting hours because they believe in the work and our mission. I'm asking for an increase of $600,000 to be added to my general fund, and I will match this with $600,000 of PST funds to share this effort equally with you. Help me reduce the wage gap.
We certainly appreciate all of you being here. I do just want to remind you our standard procedure is that we try to not have cheering and clapping and those things. That's a standard procedure across the board, though we really appreciate our sheriff and everything that he shared. I'm going to ask if there are questions from the commissioners. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any questions, just some comments. I greatly appreciate all the great work that's been done and some of the improvements we've been seeing recently. I really feel the being handcuffed, it's, no pun intended, but that the liberals in the state legislature and our governor have placed upon the burden of all law enforcement. And so I greatly appreciate your team's effort and your effort in leading and testifying the last several years, because that's how you do long-term fix some of those issues. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the great work of your team. And yeah, no, this is a very good information. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I greatly appreciate all the officers here and the wonderful work you do out on our roads and in our jail, as well as protecting the public safety of our community as a whole. And you do it with pride and with honor and respect. I believe that I don't believe the request. I believe the request is reasonable. Certainly, our people who step out and put their lives on the line every day is a reasonable request, because anytime we've had a deputy, whether it was Micah Flick or the Fountain deputy, the Fountain police officer who died earlier last year, it's very devastating. So thank you for all of you do and all of your service to our community. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
And I'll echo the comments of my fellow commissioners. I remain disappointed in certain members of our legislature that seems to continue to want to make it harder and harder and harder for law enforcement to do their job and to do it safely, and also make it harder for our law enforcement officers and the entire staff to do what they want to do, which is keep the community safe. I just remain disappointed in several of the things that happened there. I do want to congratulate you, Sheriff, on getting the Sheriff's Office fully staffed. That is outstanding. That does take some pressure off the others that were there, because you've got a full complement of people. And I do also appreciate, if I heard it correctly, everybody needs to be a Class 1 peace officer. Thank you for that as well. That is also outstanding. And I do actually have a question for Nikki, and maybe she can answer it from up there, or she can come down. This request for $600,000, is this in the budget proposals now as part of what the staff is proposing to the Board of County Commissioners?
Commissioner, thank you for the question. Yes, this amount that the sheriff is requesting is included in the preliminary balance budget. We worked hard with the sheriff's office throughout the year to figure out how much we could support them. And obviously something that administration supports is our public safety. So we made it a priority to get this in that budget.
Thank you very much. Based on that, I just want to, I know that we still have a vote to do on the budget, but I just want to state for the record right now, I'll be supporting that $600,000 for the Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Vice Chair Bremer.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for being here, and to all the men and women who serve our community so well. You know, time and time again, this board has prioritized public safety, but we're not the ones actually doing it. We're hoping we're providing you with the tools and the structure and the support to do your jobs, to do what you've been called and led to do. And the interactions that I have, I see you doing it so well. And in addition to all of the things that we typically think of from our public safety officers, I see you out and about doing the community service pieces of those things, showing up and talking to kids at schools, showing up at neighborhood gatherings, and letting people know how to get in touch with them when they're concerned about an issue. So in addition to what we typically think of as your public safety role, I want to kind of highlight how this your sheriff's office goes above and beyond in really serving our community. And, you know, that's one of our core values here is really customer service. And in your world, every single customer is a citizen or a traveler or anybody who comes into El Paso County. And it's hard to put a dollar value on, it's hard to put a figure on how that is. I'll take a line from a famous advertising commercial: priceless. priceless. You cannot put a dollar amount on what you all do for our community every day. So thank you very much. And in addition, you talked about kind of the statutory requirements of running the jail, of doing that well. We've seen incredible improvements there. Thank you for your leadership, Sheriff, on that, and many of the deputies behind you. I understand that, those first recruits, that may be some of their first place that they are placed, and learning from the ground up what a responsibility, what a heavy responsibility that is to run that jail well, and every single deputy counts there. I just want to highlight that piece, but it's also, I believe that, are we still the largest jail in the state?
The largest single jail, correct.
Which is quite an undertaking, with a pretty high percentage occupation census, daily census as well. And so just to take this opportunity, you've highlighted your critical needs and what your staff does, but to pull those strings of quite a few of the details that day in and day out your office is managing, I just want to say thank you. You do it very, very well. I also wanted to thank you and the voters for essentially this $600,000 request that you're making of us, but you are matching it with PSST. And I think that is significant. I think the voters and citizens have said they value public safety. You're doing very well with that, and we are also valuing public safety with your requests here today. Thank you for all you do, each and every one of you, and I look forward to that vote as well.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I will just add, my colleagues have said it very well, incredibly grateful for your leadership, as well as what each of your deputies and staff members do every single day. I've said before, as a military spouse, I'm no stranger to being concerned about my spouse, going to work in a dangerous environment, but it was for a short period of time. And I can't imagine the sacrifice and the just heavy weight that not only do your deputies have to think about every time they walk out the door to work their shift, but also their families. And so absolutely, I think it's incredibly important that we support each one of those individuals. Being able to be at full staff, I know what that really says about who you are as a leader and how folks feel that are coming to work for your office. I also want to point out that this board has been consistently incredibly supportive of public safety, as it has been said. And I want your staff to know that I was saddened to find out that we had this pay gap, and was very concerned about that when it was brought to my attention. And I also want to say that unfortunately, the Sheriff's Office declined to participate in a salary study a couple of years ago. This was before Sheriff Roybal took office. And that, unfortunately, is part of the reason I think that this was missed for a little bit of time. And that is not as a result of this board not valuing or not wanting to ensure that we have that kind of appropriate pay and support for the folks here. In the Sheriff's Office. We were able to do that in other areas, particularly around public safety, including the District Attorney's Office, but it created a situation where we were not able to address that earlier, and I'm sorry for that. So though it was, again, not our decision at the time, but I do very much appreciate you advocating for your staff and working with the county to make sure that we are putting those needs absolutely first. So with that, I am also excited to be in support of this in our budget. And I thank you for being here today and bringing this presentation to us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I leave, I'd just like to verbalize my thanks and appreciation to Administrator Waters, Ms. Nikki, who helped me with the budget and find a solution to the first step to shortening this gap, and we're going to get there. My recruiter, my full-time recruiting, my hiring manager, my new HR section, we're doing great. They're the reasons why we're fully staffed, and the brave men and women behind me who do the work day in and day out. This is all for them. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sheriff, for staying at the podium. You know, I've mentioned this before, but I think it's appropriate to mention it again. Having served in the Air Force for 28 years, having been a commander of organizations overseas, having served in combat in Iraq, I was really, really fortunate that all 28 years I never lost anybody on my watch. I had to become a county commissioner for that to happen. So I want to express what my fellow commissioners have expressed, a gratitude to all of you for the very dangerous work that you do. And thank you for that. I've done ride-alongs with you. Those have been really fun. That was a testament to the professionalism that I see in the sheriff's office in El Paso County. And I do want to just say, I think at this moment in time, this is the safest boardroom in the country. Thank you very much.
One last thing before I leave. Honorable Commission, I'm working with Mr. Waters. We are going to do a pay study that the office opted out a few years ago, but we're going to catch up. We're going to do that on every position and evaluate every position in the office to make sure we are compensating there fairly. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. So at this time, as Ms. Simmons suggested, we will take public comment on this presentation. So I'll ask if there's anyone here who would like to speak in the public comment portion of this hearing on this presentation. Now is your opportunity to come forward. Okay, I'm seeing none in the room. Do we have anyone online? Okay, so with that, that is the end of this portion, the Sheriff's Office specific presentation, and we are a little bit ahead of schedule. Thank you all so much for being here. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, and so we are going to ask Mr. Flucher. And I'm going to look around here. We have a lot of people moving. Oh. Sure, we've had a request for a brief recess, so we will take a brief 5-minute recess.